talked about Mark Richt. Les Miles won a national championship. I mean, this is someone who had a lot of goodwill. This is someone who had his team this season as high as number 2 in the country. And then, went into the Hunger Games of the SEC West and came up with a couple losses. Like, it boggles my mind why you would leak this story and then to go back on it like that.
Well, and add to this as well that, we said it earlier about Tarboro. This was an LSU team that wasn't supposed to be great this year anyway.
Yeah.
Everything for LSU is trending toward next year. They have a fantastic sophomore class, obviously led by Leonard Fournette. That's a group that's going to be fantastic next year. Like I said, I think this came down to, well, here's the difference. I'm going to tell you the difference between LSU and Georgia. LSU put out what was going on. I think they were trying to garner public support.
I agree.
Well, here's the deal. Georgia, who usually is not known as being ruthless by any means, Georgia did it right. Georgia didn't say a word, and then they made their decision, and they didn't give the fans and the players, they didn't give them the platform to, well, okay, we know, okay, you really like Mark Richt. They made a decision, and they stuck with their decision. Mm-hmm. And they ruthlessly and effectively did what they needed to do and what they wanted to do. LSU just, God, whoever leaked that to the media completely screwed that pooch. And the sad thing is, it was a fucking AD who did it.
Yeah, it was either the AD or it was someone else very high up there, and it may have been the AD who told him to leak it. That might have been what happened.
Well, and I mean that's the thing, when you give them, God, I mean when you give him a chance to garner public support, that's what makes it so hard. Because for the last week going into that game, that was the topic of conversation. How stupid are LSU? Why are they doing this? I mean, Les Miles has done a great job. Why are they doing this? Why are they going to fire him? They're idiots. When you're the CEO of a big corporation, which is kind of what an athletic director is nowadays.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, am I going to decide, what, I'm going to fire Dave in the mailroom, but you know what, I'm going to just leak it out there that I might, and then I'm going to listen to all his friends because, he is really popular because he brings donuts twice a week. No, they like him. Well, he didn't lose the mail today.
Oh, okay.
All right, Dave, guess what? You're going to keep your job because public support wants you to keep your job. And here's another thing. I would not have had a massive problem with LSU firing Les Miles. I think, even though, yes, they are a year away, I think Les Miles has really failed in the development of a quarterback at LSU.
Yeah, that's true.
And the way the game is driven nowadays, you need that quarterback to be really good. Mm-hmm. And, his hirings for offensive coordinators leave a lot to be desired at LSU. So I could have seen a scenario where you did fire Les Miles. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, you just take the hit and you go get somebody. I think with Georgia, I also think another thing with Georgia had their ducks in a row. Mm-hmm. I think Georgia knew exactly who they wanted to go after, and they wanted to go after Kirby Smart.
Right.
I actually believe their number one choice may have been Jimbo Fisher, number 2 Kirby Smart. Mm-hmm. And they knew they could get one of those two. I think they knew that Kirby Smart would take that job. If they didn't get Jimbo Fisher, which they didn't, they could get Kirby Smart, who is not a very bad number 2 choice at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
LSU, I think LSU, the only name they had on their list was Jimbo Fisher. And then Jimbo Fisher said, well, I'm not leaving Florida State to go to LSU. I think that also had something to do with it because suddenly I think the AD sitting there going, oh, shit, well, we can't get Jimbo. Damn, we got to get somebody good. You couldn't have fired Les Miles and brought in an assistant coach. You couldn't have brought in a Kirby Smart after firing a national championship coach.
Right.
It's different at Georgia. It's just different right now. So LSU, God, it's like if they had just sat back and done their due diligence, they could have done whatever they wanted, but they let their dirty laundry fly. And that's totally what got them at the end of the day, is somebody ran their mouth too much.
Yeah. So let that be a lesson to all of you out there who want to try to use the media in ways that maybe you shouldn't to try and control the message. Sometimes it backfires. Speaking of backfiring, what? Oh, I don't have one for this. What have you been watching in the week that was and the week that will be? That just backfired on me. That's how it worked.
That just backfired on you. Where have I been this week? What have I watched? No American Horror Story last week.
Right.
And I wanted to kind of figure out all the little intricate things going on this season. So I actually went and binge watched on Netflix. I'm weird. Horror Story we've talked about, it's one of those shows where it jumps around. Every season's completely different. Mm-hmm. So it's like you never really have to watch anything in chronological order.
Right.
So I had seen every season of Horror Story except season 1.
Uh-huh.
So I actually went and binge watched season 1, which was Murder House, over the last week.
Uh-huh.
Oh, fuck, that was disturbing.
Oh, fun.
That was great. It was fantastically disturbing. Ghosts who can actually still murder people. That's fantastic. So that's what I watched on the Netflix this week. Definitely not going to have a watch for coming up anytime soon because I'm going to get like 3 channels on the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, that was me this week. I watched all 12 or 13 episodes of season 1, Murder House.
Murder House.
Murder.
Yeah.
Murder!
There you go.
I love murder.
I finished watching Jessica Jones on the Marvel Netflix series. Oh, David Tennant. Oh, you are an evil, fucked up son of a bitch.
He sounds evil. Don't even know him. He sounds evil.
Oh, he plays Kilgrave on the Jessica Jones. And this isn't a spoiler because it's pretty commonly known. His power is basically that whatever he says, you are compelled to do.
Yeah, you've talked about him.
Yeah. So, and I saw half of it last time we talked. I finished the rest of it this past weekend. Some of the stuffs he makes people do is rather unpleasant. Some people taking the phrase "wipe him from the face of the earth" to very extreme standards. But they also do have, I think the show did an absolutely fantastic job of giving you just enough moments with him where you're like, oh, I actually feel bad for him. No, this is making me feel sympathetic for him. And then they just turn it like, no. Do not feel bad for him. Do not feel bad. He is pure evil. He's since it was one of your favorite topics, Wes, especially when we start talking about Oz, and that's rape. There is a lot of the there's no rape actually in the show, which is I think actually a very good decision. What there is there's a lot of references to it, and there's a lot of the PTSD and other mental issues that can come as a result of it. And you also see from his perspective how messed up he is when he can't see the difference between love and rape. That's the kind of man he is. And it's just that something is not quite right there that makes him very, very evil and very, very special. And David Tennant is amazing in the role. If you like superheroes, if you like maybe a darker take on them, if you liked Jessica Jones the comic, I can see no reason why you shouldn't watch all 13 episodes of the show. There's good continuity back to Daredevil, which is the first Marvel Netflix series. I really, really enjoyed it, and I can't wait for Luke Cage's series. where Mike Coulter comes out with his sexy, sexy abs again. Oh, Mike Coulter. He has such sexy abs. The camera does a lot of lingering on his abs. They know where their bread gets buttered, if you know what I mean. Speaking of bread getting buttering, what's going on in So Raw?
Yes, because we had a big barbecue this week and buttered bread, huh?
There you go.
Sure. Ed, I have something from So Raw this week that I think will intrigue you when I say the name.
Okay.
Ed, we have a new faction.
What?
You know we love a good faction.
We
Factions are the lifeblood of the wrestling business.
A little bit.
Ed, let's just say this. League of Nations.
That sounds somewhat dorky, but I'm intrigued. Go on.
You have the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Sheamus, from Ireland. Big Liverpool fan, by the way. You have King Bad News Barrett from Preston, England. That's in England for all you folks out there. You have Rusev, the Bulgarian Brute. And then all of a sudden, the fourth one has escaped me.
Oh, this is a good faction.
Oh, God. No, it's a good guy. And it's just... all I can see in my head is Randy Orton, who I know it's obviously not because he's from St. Louis. And he's going to be out for another 6 months.
Let me look it up real quick. I'll look it up.
Okay, you look it up.
It's Sheamus, Rusev, King Barrett, and Alberto Del Rio.
Del Rio. Of course, Del Rio. Del Rio from Mexico. They have formed the League of Nations. They are all what we call in the wrestling business heels, Ed. That means they're the bad guys, the terrible people you don't want to win. They have basically teamed up to destroy Roman Reigns, which is what a good heel faction's always looking to do, is to destroy a top babyface.
There you go.
It was formed the other night. Sheamus actually came out with the New Day, your beloved New Day, introducing him at the beginning of Raw. Sheamus actually has kind of drawn my attention this week because he's finally showing some real personality. Sheamus is pretty damn funny when he starts making fun of himself.
Oh, nice.
He came out in a suit that was just a little too small. He had his mohawk slicked back with pomade, it looked like. And then he tried to dance with the New Day. Very, very comical. As the show went on, the big match of the night, well, what we thought was going to be the big match of the night happened around 9:45, 10 o'clock. Roman Reigns and Sheamus had a world title match right then and there because they had gotten so mad at each other earlier. Sheamus said he wanted Reigns tonight. The only stipulation was Reigns had a 5-minute and 15-second time limit in which to beat Sheamus. Now, that number is significant because that is how long Reigns officially held the world title at Survivor Series, was 5 minutes and 15 seconds before Sheamus cashed in and beat him. So it was added in there because, you know, of course we had that little faction. So Reigns had his own kind of mini faction going, his two cousins, the Usos, and of course his broski, Dean Ambrose. They're not an official faction, but they were factioned up for the night. Ambrose had won a number one contender spot for the Intercontinental title last week on SmackDown, and the Usos were number one contenders for the tag team titles. And what it was said was if Reigns could not beat Sheamus under that 5:15 mark, then those guys were all going to lose their title shots as well.
Whoa.
So, yeah, crazy. So what happens with about 30-some seconds left, Reigns is setting up for the spear to take down Sheamus, win the title. Instead, here comes Rusev, here comes Barrett, here comes Del Rio. They start beating down Reigns. Sheamus gets disqualified which of course on disqualification, that means you keep your title. You do lose the match, but you keep your title.